Welcome to Math 8 and Algebra with Mrs. Swinson. We have two special education teachers that help out the Red 8 team, and that's Mrs. Herman and Mrs. Simons. And this is for the 2016-2017 school year. So for Math 8 and Algebra, the curriculum is Common Core. Let's get right into it and let's talk about our homework. Homework is to be completed when it is assigned. Now things are a little bit different in math this year as opposed to other years, I'm sure. And your homework is to watch a video, much like what you are doing right now, to watch a video of the math instruction. The next day when you come to class, you will work on what was traditionally homework before. So you'll do practice problems in class. So your homework is going to be a video, which is the instructional piece, so therefore you absolutely must do your homework because that's the instruction. And then the next day you're going to come in and practice what you watched and be able to ask questions on what you watched the night before. So it gives some great one-on-one instructional time, gives you opportunities to work with each other, to ask questions of the teachers in the classroom. Okay, so that's something called the flipped classroom. I'm sure some of you have heard about it, or you've heard some other kids talk about how math for them this past year was the flipped classroom. You obviously can access my website or the parent portal for any kind of grading information that you may need. Okay, and the teacher website, that's generally going to come from Google Classroom this year, but we'll talk more about that as the year gets started. Tests and quizzes. Quizzes will be given every 1 to 2 weeks. Unit exams will be given 2 to 3 times per 10-week grading period. So per quarter, generally there's just 2 units that we get through, but there may be a quarter that there may be 3 units that we get through. Grading, okay, homework. Your homework grade is going to come from the work that you do in the classroom. Remember how I said that we work on practice problems in class. So you will get a signature for every problem set that you complete that is correct. So at the end of that unit, you turn in what we call your checklist, and you get points per signature that you have received. So that grade will go in at the end of the unit. That will be your homework grade. You will also have weekly problem sets, 1 per week, and they're called weeklies. Math 8, there'll be a blue piece of paper, and Algebra, there'll be a green piece of paper. And they're worth 20 points apiece. Weeklies are given every week, and you have to do them on your own time. You certainly can come in and get some extra help on them. You can go to the math lab to get some extra help. And weeklies could cover anything that we've covered for the entire year. So they're kind of a mixed bag of tricks. Quizzes, 1 per unit. Test at the end of every unit. And then your final exam for Math 8, it's the New York State exam in the spring. And for Algebra, it's the Regents exam in June. Class participation, cooperating and participating in class, in all class learning activities, being a good partner, being a good student in class, getting to class on time, and being prepared. Those are all things that I look for consistently. Supplies. For Algebra, it is the TI Nspire CX. That's a larger calculator. Kind of looks like a handheld computer because it is. We do have a class set of those in the classroom for students to use during the school day. So for homework time, that would be something, that's why it's on the supply list for you to own. The TI Nspire CX can be used for all 4 years of high school, plus obviously this year in class. Remember, this is for Algebra and beyond. If there's ever any updates or upgrades, Texas Instrument provides those for free, and you can get those upgrades at any point in time whenever they come out. Math 8, it's the TI-34 multi-view calculator. Again, I do have a class set of those to be used during the school day, but when you're outside the classroom or outside the school, it would be good to have your own calculator to use. A 3-ring binder to be brought with you to class every day. That will contain your notes and your problem sets that we are in at the current time for that unit. So once we're done with the unit, I'm going to have you have a second 3-ring binder, which I prefer to be a little bit larger, to be that 2-inch binder. And I say that you could keep that in your locker. You absolutely could keep that at home. I know some lockers get a little crazy during the year, so you can keep that extra 3-ring binder at home to put the units that we have completed in. Writing utensils, pencils are preferred by a lot of them. The school year is kind of long, and you tend to go through pencils or lose them, so a lot of pencils. Any kind of pencils are cool. Cap erasers, if that's what you use, get a couple packages of those. Earbuds or headphones, they're an absolute must, especially because I do the flipped classroom, so you're going to need to be able to listen to instruction, and most times you'll be viewing that instruction on your Chromebook at home. A box of tissues, if you can bring in a box of tissues and we could stash them in my back room to use throughout the school year, that would be great. I always say those tissues that we can get from the school nurse, they're a little bit like blowing your nose on sandpaper. So if you could bring in a box of tissues, that would be wonderful. Parental support, please check the parent portal or my website to get information about the class. Make sure that you have a current email. Check that information out to make sure that it's current, because that would be my biggest mode of communication if there's something great to share, or if there's something not so great to share, I will go to the email first, and make sure that your phone numbers are listed in your school contact information too. Make sure that you check your email. Sometimes I send out email blasts from Infinite Campus about maybe an upcoming test or something that's due, or maybe just what's going on in class. Teacher support. You've got my you'll see my contact information in the back side here. I am available after school and during the school day when possible. You'll see my schedule on the next page as well. And then the math lab is open, and it's staffed by past math teachers, people that are certified in math that can help with any level of math, and those are open during the lunch periods every day. So here's my schedule. It's pretty packed, but third block on day 1 I'm free, 4A, 4B, 5A on day 2, and then 5B and 6 on day 3. So those are times when students can catch me. I'm generally in my classroom. If I have stepped out, I will probably be back quickly. So here's my contact information. There's my email. Notice that our emails have changed. It's not websterschools.org anymore. It's webstercsd.org. So if some of you may have had those stored in your email, there is a slight change to them now. Mrs. Herman and Mrs. Simons, like I said, those are the 2 special ed teachers that help support our Red 8 students. My website is right here. Mrs. Herman's website is right there. So you were given instructions in Google Classroom to fill this out and turn this in via Google Classroom. So you don't have to print this out to turn this in. You will be able to sign it, digitally sign it, and turn it in via Google Classroom. So you and your parent. If you have any questions, please never hesitate to contact me. Email me, like I said, is probably the quickest way to get to me, but please let me know. I look forward to having a wonderful school year. Your kids are going to love math this year. I know they will. Have a great one.